I've had a few people ask me what peppers and what tomatoes I'll be growing this year, so I thought it was time to share a few. I'll just use the indoor plants as a backdrop so you can get a mini update on those while we're at it. I haven't made a final list, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be growing most of the ones I'm showing you today. First on the list is Cho di Sherdau. Some say that this pepper is even sweeter than Jimmy Nardello, and any pepper that can be mentioned in the same sentence as Jimmy Nardello is one that I think I want to try. I'll still be growing Jimmy Nardello, so I'll be giving these a head-to-head taste test, or that's my plan. Another one that I haven't grown before is Ají cachucha, or also known as Ají dulce. This is a sweet pepper that can have very mild heat in that 500 to 1000 Scoville range. And if it's like all of the other ají type peppers I've grown, it should be very productive. Another new one for us this year is Pippin's Golden Honey. This is one of several peppers that can be traced back to American artist Horace Pippin. Two other peppers that I've grown that can be traced back to him are fish peppers and Buena Mulata. As I already mentioned, I'll also be growing Jimmy Nardello. It's become a regular in our garden. Here's a look at some Jimmy Nardello peppers that I grew a couple of years ago. When they're fully ripe like this, they make great snacking peppers. Another regular for us is albino bullnose. It's a sweet pepper that usually is the first pepper for us to produce each year. And it usually keeps producing peppers as long as we keep them harvested. Here are some albino bullnose peppers that I grew last year. They're the white peppers in the center top of the screen. I have a few ají rico seeds left, so I'll be growing some of those also. I like that one quite a bit, even though it is a hybrid. I did a video on that pepper last year, so if you're interested in knowing more about that, I'll put a link down below, as well as links to other peppers that I've grown. Ají rico peppers are very productive, and they are the red ones to the right of the screen. Buena Mulata is a hot pepper that I've grown for the last several years, and I'm growing it again. It's a very dependable producer and packs plenty of heat, coming in at about 30,000 to 50,000 on the Scoville scale. Buena Mulata peppers start out purple in color, and then they go through several color changes on their way to red when they're fully ripe. If you keep them picked, they'll keep producing. Now for the tomatoes. As with the peppers, I haven't made a final list yet, but most of these are in strong consideration. Bundaberg Rumball is said to be a heavy producer with 2 to 3 ounce tomatoes that are chocolate colored and have a well-balanced, sweet flavor. It's a dwarf type tomato and one of about 5 new types that I'm thinking of trying this year. Dwarf Audrey's Love tomatoes only grow to about 2 or 3 feet tall, which makes them a good choice for containers or grow bags. It produces tomatoes that have green striping and are said to have a well-balanced, mild flavor. It's a paste type tomato. Banana Toes is another one that would be good in containers or grow bags because it only gets to about 18 to 24 inches tall. It's a Roma type that has yellow-colored tomatoes. Chocolate Champion is one that I'm looking forward to growing this year. It was created by crossing Golden Dwarf Champion and Cherokee Chocolate. Next on the list is Dwarf Mary's Cherry. Even though it has cherry in the name and most of the fruits are cherry-sized tomatoes, they say that the fruits vary in size on the same plant. I'll also be growing a few that I grew last year, and one of the ones I'll grow for sure is Rosella Purple. Out of the 8 different dwarf types that I grew last year, this one by far tasted the best. I did a video called Top 5 Best Tasting Tomatoes a few years ago, and if I had to do that video over again, this one would make the top 5. Another contender to make the top 5 in that video, if I had to remake it, is one called Baronia. Baronia grows to about the same height as Rosella Purple, and they're very similar in appearance. but I think Rosella Purple has an edge on the Boronia as far as taste. Another one that I'm going to try to make room for is called Sleeping Lady. This wasn't even in the top 3 of best tasting tomatoes that I grew last year, but I like its productivity and its staying power. Another tomato that I'm going to try to make room for is Sun Gold Cherry Tomato. It's a great tasting, very productive tomato. This isn't a final list or a complete list, and there might be a couple that get cut from the list, but most of these will end up out in our garden this year. If anything gets cut, it will be because of space. Feel free to share your list of tomatoes and peppers you'll be growing this year, or anything else for that matter. We'll see you next time.